She laughed in my face when she said it. Right there in front of her coworkers, our friends, everyone. "Oh, come on, Brian," she said, swirling her wine with that smug little smirk she wore when she thought she had me figured out. "We'll be better off as friends. Mature adults can handle that." Everyone chuckled politely, thinking we were some modern, enlightened ex-couple. They didn't know I was dying inside, or that I'd just watched 12 years of marriage collapse into a polite punchline. That night, while she basked in the attention of her friends at the office party, I smiled, nodded, and promised myself something. If she wanted to see what real friendship looked like, I'd show her. Oh, I'd show her exactly what she asked for. Before we go further, if you love stories about twists, revenge, and people finally getting what they deserve, make sure to subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments what you would have done in my place. The party had that predictable corporate energy. Too much wine, forced laughter, coworkers pretending to be close while waiting for the free desserts. I wasn't even supposed to be there. She had begged me to come so we could show everyone that divorce doesn't have to be ugly. I'd agreed because, honestly, I wanted to believe that. I wanted to believe we could part as adults, no bitterness. But the second I walked in, I saw her standing too close to her new friend, Ethan. Young, flashy, full of confidence he hadn't earned yet. She introduced him like I was some distant relative. "This is Brian," she said casually, "my ex. We're still great friends." Ethan gave me that half-grin guys use when they think they've won something. I shook his hand, smiled back, and didn't say a word that I stood near the bar, watching her hold court. She told stories about how she needed freedom, how not all marriages are meant to last forever, and how some men just don't understand when to let go. Her friends nodded sympathetically, sipping cocktails that cost more than my lunch that day. I caught pieces of their whispers. How brave she was for ending things, how strong she looked. Brave, strong. Those words used to describe her when she supported me during hard times. Now they were her armor. She spotted me across the room and raised her glass. "See? We can still hang out. No bitterness here." People laughed. My face burned, but I just nodded, raised my glass back, and smiled like it didn't tear me apart inside. That was her favorite trick, making me look small while pretending to be gracious. But I didn't give her the satisfaction of reacting. I kept my calm. After the party, she followed me to the parking lot. The night air was cold, the kind that bites through your jacket and reminds you you're still alive. She leaned against her car, arms crossed. "You were quiet tonight," she said softly. "You okay?" I looked at her. Perfect hair, perfect dress, perfect performance. "I'm fine," I said. "You seem to enjoy yourself." She smiled, not catching the weight in my voice. It felt good, you know? Everyone being so supportive. It's nice to know we can do this like adults. Friends. That word again. Friends. It used to mean something sacred to me. Now it felt like a leash. Over the next week, she called me almost every night. Not to check on me. No, those calls were about her. "The faucet's leaking. Do you still have that wrench you used to fix it? Or, can you look over this job offer? I just want your opinion." I helped at first. Old habits die hard. But each time I hung up, I felt the weight of what she was doing. She wanted the comfort of a husband without the responsibility of one. She wanted emotional security without commitment, help without obligation. Then came the Saturday morning call. "Hey," she said casually, "you're good with taxes, right?" I almost laughed. "Why?" "Well, I realized I can't figure out how to file the house expenses now that it's just under my name. You always handled this stuff." I leaned back on the couch, staring at the ceiling. "You should probably call your accountant," I said. Silence. Then, "Brian, come on. We're friends. Friends help each other." There it was again. That word, used like a key to open every door she'd shut when she left. "You're right," I said finally. "Friends help each other. So here's my advice. Get an accountant. They'll handle it perfectly." Her tone shifted instantly. "Wow, you've really changed." I smiled, though she couldn't see it. "You wanted change, didn't you?" That was the first time I hung up before she could. It felt strange, freeing, almost. But that freedom didn't last long. Because she wasn't done testing what friendship meant. Not even close point 3 nights later, she called again. I let it ring until it stopped. Then she texted, "Emergency. Need help. Please." That's when I realized her version of friendship came with emergencies on demand. And I was about to redefine the word for her. The next morning, her emergency turned out to be a loose curtain rod. I was halfway through my coffee when her name flashed on the screen again. Brian, I swear it's falling right out of the wall. I can't sleep knowing it might drop on me. I set my mug down and took a deep breath. Did you try using a screwdriver? I don't have the right one, she said, her voice high with frustration. You always handled these things. I smiled to myself. Well, it's a good time to learn. I'll send you a link to a hardware kit that'll have everything you need. There was a pause. You're not coming? No, I've got plans. Plans. The disbelief in her voice almost made me laugh. Yeah, plans, I said, taking another sip. Enjoy the rest of your day. That was when I realized something. She didn't actually want friendship. She wanted dependency disguised as connection. And the more she demanded, the calmer I became. I wasn't angry anymore. I was studying her, quietly, patiently, like someone finally reading the instructions for a puzzle they'd been assembling wrong for years. The calls didn't stop. They just evolved. Next, it was her car. My check engine light came on, she said one afternoon. I think the car's about to explode. I stifled a chuckle. It's not going to explode. Probably just needs an oil change. Can you take it in for me? You know I hate talking to mechanics. No can do, I said. But I can text you a great auto shop that's honest and fair. Silence. Then, softly, you're really not going to help me, are you? I just did, I said. That's what friends do, share resources. Every time she tried to rope me back into being her personal handyman or emotional support system, I politely declined. It was almost too easy. Each no became a quiet victory, a step toward freedom I didn't even know I craved. But she didn't take rejection well. The next crisis came at 2:30 in the morning. My phone buzzed violently on the nightstand. I grabbed it, bleary-eyed, thinking something serious had happened. What's wrong? I mumbled. The smoke detector's beeping, she said. It won't stop, and I can't sleep. I blinked. You woke me up because of a smoke detector? Brian, please, it's driving me crazy. Take out the battery. I don't know how. YouTube it, I said, already half asleep. There's a video for everything. She huffed, offended. Wow, you've really changed. Thanks, I said, and hung up. That was the night I slept better than I had in months. Days passed without hearing from her. I thought maybe she'd finally accepted the new boundaries. But of course I was wrong. The universe, or maybe karma, has a sense of humor. Friday night, dinner with my brother. We were laughing over old stories when my phone started buzzing again. Her name lit up the screen. I ignored it. Then it buzzed again. And again. 7 missed calls later, I finally answered. What's wrong? I asked. I locked myself out of the house, she said, almost hysterical. It's freezing. Please come let me in. Did you call a locksmith? Brian, that's $200. You have the spare key. I do, I said slowly. But you wanted independence, remember? Don't do this. You can be here in 20 minutes. You'll be fine, I said gently. You're not in danger. Just cold. Call a locksmith. You're unbelievable, she yelled. Friends don't abandon each other. Friends respect each other's boundaries, I said, and hung up. My brother stared at me across the table. That sounded rough. I shrugged. She's learning. He grinned. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Maybe a little, I admitted. But it wasn't revenge. Not really. It was clarity. She'd built her idea of love, and now friendship, around control. And now, with every polite refusal, I was handing her a mirror she didn't want to look in it at an hour later. She texted me. Paid $180 to the locksmith. Thanks for nothing. I wrote back. Glad you got inside safely. See, you handled it. She didn't reply. For a week, silence. Then, one Saturday morning, a new message. Emergency. Need to talk. Come over. Against my better judgment, I went. She was sitting at the kitchen table surrounded by paperwork, past due notices, bills, unopened envelopes. Her eyes were red. I'm short for the mortgage, she said. Just $700. I'll pay you back as soon as I can. I sat down across from her. You got the house, remember? You said you could afford it. I can. It's just been a bad month. The car repairs, the new washer, everything hit at once. I folded my hands, calm as ever. So, what's your plan? I was hoping you'd help me this once. It was almost poetic. The house she'd fought to keep had become her anchor. The freedom she'd chased had turned into debt. You want me to cover your mortgage? I asked. It's temporary, she pleaded. Please, Brian. I looked at her, really looked at her, and saw what I hadn't seen before. She didn't need saving. She needed to learn how to save herself. No, I said finally. Friends don't pay each other's bills. That's more of a spouse thing. Her expression shifted from disbelief to rage to panic. So you're just going to let me lose the house? I'm not letting you do anything, I said quietly. You wanted independence. This is what it looks like. When I left that day, I knew something inside her had cracked, not out of spite, but realization. She'd spent years thinking love meant someone cleaning up her messes. Now she was alone with the chaos she created, and that was only the beginning. Because soon, she'd find out what real consequences felt like. 2 weeks passed after that awkward kitchen scene, and for a while, I thought she'd finally learned her lesson. No calls, no texts, no guilt trips. The silence felt strange at first, but eventually, I realized I liked it. Peace had become my new luxury. I started running again in the mornings, something I hadn't done since our early marriage years. I caught up with friends I'd neglected. I even joined a trivia night at a local bar, just to remind myself that life existed outside of her orbit. But peace doesn't last long when someone's addicted to chaos. One evening, as I was leaving work, my phone buzzed with a message that made me groan. Hey, can we talk? It's important. I ignored it. 5 minutes later, another one. Please, it's not about money. That line made me laugh because with her, everything was about money, control, or attention. Still, I drove home, poured myself a drink, and when the third message came, it's about something serious. I made the mistake of answering. She sounded calm at first, almost too calm. I just wanted to say thank you, she began. For what? I asked. For making me realize things. I've been doing a lot of thinking. Her voice softened. I know I made mistakes, but I'm trying to change. I didn't trust the tone. It was the same one she used when she wanted something. That's good to hear, I said. I really mean it, she continued. I even started therapy. I was about to congratulate her when she added, I told my therapist about how you've been helping me adjust. I almost choked on my drink. Helping you? Yeah, she said brightly. She said it's amazing that my ex-husband and I can stay such close friends. There it was again, the story she told herself. I bit my tongue to stop from laughing. Well, I said carefully, if that's what helps you heal, I'm glad. I thought that would be the end of it, but it wasn't. Because that same night, she showed up unannounced. I heard the knock and froze. It was late, nearly 10. Through the peephole, I saw her, makeup perfect, hair styled, wearing that perfume she knew used to get to me. When I opened the door, she smiled like nothing had happened. I was in the neighborhood, she said casually, stepping inside before I could say no. We need to talk face to face. I didn't invite her to sit, but she did anyway. You can't just barge in here, I said, keeping my voice even. Oh, relax, she said, waving her hand. You act like we're strangers. That's exactly what we are now. She ignored the jab. Listen, I think we should reset. I know things have been tense, but I don't want to fight. I miss how we used to talk. She tilted her head, that manipulative softness in her eyes. Don't you miss it too? I didn't answer. She took that as an opening and reached for my hand. Brian, I know we can't go back to what we were, but maybe we can find something new. Something better. Better than what? I asked quietly. Better than the mess we made, she whispered. You mean the mess you made? I corrected. That hit her. She drew her hand back like she'd touched fire. Wow, I'm trying to have an adult conversation, and you're just being cruel. No, I said, standing now. I'm being honest. There's a difference. She looked hurt for half a second, but then her mask slipped back on. You know, she said slowly, you always did this. You twist things until you're the victim. You're not as saintly as you think. I almost laughed. I'm not a saint, Sarah. I'm just not your safety net anymore. Her jaw tightened. You'll regret pushing me away, she said coldly. You'll see how lonely life feels when no one cares. I opened the door. Good night. She glared at me, but I could tell she didn't expect me to call her bluff. When the door clicked shut behind her, I felt the kind of peace that comes when you finally realize someone can't manipulate you anymore. The next few days, she didn't call. But she found another way to reach me, through mutual friends. Apparently, she'd been telling people that I'd changed, that I was cold and spiteful. I didn't bother defending myself. Anyone who knew me would see through it. But still, the rumors stung. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. At my cousin's birthday party a week later, I ran into her best friend, Lauren. We'd met a few times during the marriage, but we'd never really talked. That night, she was sitting alone at the bar, sipping a beer and looking miserable. Out of politeness, I said hello. To my surprise, she smiled. Hey, Brian. Long time. Yeah, I said, sitting beside her. How's Sarah? The way she rolled her eyes told me everything I needed to know. Still dramatic, she said, and we both laughed. The tension broke instantly. We talked for hours about work, family, even music. It felt easy in a way it hadn't with anyone in years. There was no manipulation, no agenda, just conversation. By the end of the night, she said something that stuck with me. You know, she said, Sarah used to complain about you all the time, but the stuff she complained about sounded like, well, good things. Like you being responsible, stable, predictable. I blinked. Those were complaints. Apparently, she said with a smirk. I guess stability isn't sexy when you think chaos is passion. We both laughed, and for the first time in a long time, it wasn't bitter. When we said goodbye, she hesitated. We should grab coffee sometime. No drama, just caffeine. I smiled. I'd like that. As I drove home that night, I realized something incredible. I hadn't thought about Sarah once during the entire conversation. For the first time in months, my life wasn't about her. It was about me. But fate wasn't done with us yet. Because soon, Sarah would find out about those coffees. And that discovery would be the spark that set everything ablaze. A few weeks later, Lauren and I had become something neither of us expected. It started simple: coffee, small talk, shared laughter that turned into long conversations about life, mistakes, and second chances. She was grounded, funny, unpretentious. She didn't expect me to fix anything. She just showed up, genuinely present. It felt new and terrifying at the same time because it reminded me of what real connection was supposed to feel like. I never thought I'd find that again, especially not with someone from my ex-wife's old circle. But life has a dark sense of humor, and I wasn't about to question something that finally felt right. We were out one Saturday morning picking out a coffee maker at Target when fate decided to crash our quiet happiness. I heard the voice before I even saw her. You have got to be kidding me. Sarah's tone could have cut through steel. I turned, and there she was, standing at the end of the aisle, holding a basket of cleaning supplies and glaring at us like she'd just witnessed a crime. Hey, I said, forcing calm. How's it going? How's it going? She repeated, stepping closer. You're here with her? My best friend. Lauren didn't flinch. She just kept her hand in mine. Former best friend, she said evenly. And yes, I'm here with him. Sarah's jaw dropped. This is insane. How long has this been going on? A few months, Lauren said, her tone calm, almost kind. And I haven't been your best friend for a long time, Sarah. You just didn't notice. People around us had started to slow down, pretending to browse, but clearly listening. Sarah's voice got louder. You're unbelievable. You steal my husband and act like the victim. Ex-husband, I corrected quietly. We've been divorced for months. She ignored me, turning her fury back on Lauren. You broke girl code. You don't go after your friend's ex. Lauren gave a small, tired laugh. You stopped being my friend when every conversation became about your problems and how everyone else was supposed to fix them. You don't get to claim loyalty when you never gave it. That landed harder than I expected. Sarah froze, her mouth opening and closing like she couldn't find words. You're both pathetic, she finally spat. You think this is going to last? He'll get bored with you just like he got bored with me. Lauren smiled. Maybe, but at least I won't spend every day treating him like an employee. That one got a few gasps from the onlookers. Sarah's face went red. This is not over, she hissed, her voice shaking. You can't just humiliate me like this. I stepped in before it got uglier. Sarah, no one's trying to humiliate you. You ran into us shopping. That's it. Don't talk to me like that, she snapped. You're both disgusting. Then, realizing people were staring, she dropped her basket and stormed out. I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Lauren squeezed my hand and whispered, well, that could have gone worse. I laughed, but deep down, I knew it wasn't over. Sarah never let go. Quietly. 2 weeks later, she proved me right. I came home from work one evening to find her car parked in my driveway. When I walked inside, she was sitting on my couch, perfectly composed, wearing the dress she knew I used to love. We need to talk, she said firmly. How did you get in? I asked, noticing the old spare key on the counter. You forgot I still had it, she said, smiling faintly. Don't worry, I won't use it again after tonight. I sighed and sat down across from her. Say what you came to say. She took a deep breath. I've been thinking. I made mistakes. I took you for granted. I let good things slip away. But I see that now. I want to fix it. I almost laughed. You want to fix our divorce? Yes, she said, her eyes softening. I miss us. I miss having someone who cares. You mean someone who solves your problems for you. Her smile faded. That's not fair. It's exactly fair, I said. You didn't want a partner. You wanted a safety net. Before she could respond, Lauren walked in from the kitchen, drying her hands on a towel. Sarah's head snapped toward her. You're living together now? She demanded. Yes, Lauren said simply. Last week. Sarah's face twisted in disbelief. You've got to be kidding me. You moved in with her? You're replacing me with my friend. There's nothing to replace, I said quietly. You ended what we had. We can start over, she pleaded. We can go to therapy, rebuild. I'll do better this time. I shook my head. I don't want to rebuild something that was rotten at the foundation. I want something real, something peaceful. She turned on Lauren, eyes blazing. You're just using him to get back at me. That's projection, Lauren replied calmly. I didn't plan this. But I'm not apologizing for being happy. Sarah's voice cracked. You'll regret this, both of you. The only thing I regret, I said, standing, is not walking away sooner. She glared at us one last time before storming out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the frames. I turned to Lauren, who exhaled slowly. Think that's the last of it. Knowing her, I said, probably not. But it doesn't matter anymore. I pulled her close, and for the first time in years, I meant every word I said. I'm done being the backup plan in someone else's story. Months later, word got around that Sarah had moved back in with her parents after losing the house. Apparently, the independence she fought for came with bills she couldn't handle. I didn't feel anger or pity, just quiet acceptance. Some lessons are meant to be learned the hard way. Life moves on, and sometimes the best revenge isn't payback. It's peace. That if you've made it this far, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment telling me what you'd have done if your ex came crawling back. I'll see you in the next story.